Hi, welcome back to My Perspective. I'm your host, Shelby Wright. Let's start off to why I started psychosyncing. So I got off birth control in May of 2022 because I was experiencing hair loss extremely from the arm implant. And I've been on the pill before as well, 2 different types. I had issues with that because I was extremely emotional and I gained over 40 pounds. And yeah, there's probably other factors to gaining weight, but I just looked very bloated and was holding water retention pretty much everywhere. I decided to go off not go off birth control, but I switched to a non-hormonal IUD, which has been so awesome because I actually can stay in tune with my body and listen to it and know that I'm not putting anything into it that is causing me to have symptoms, and I really have control over what's going on. So some symptoms I had were extreme fatigue, hair loss obviously, extreme PMS, extreme periods. The whole thing was not working out for me. So I ended up getting a hormone test, the Dutch test, and also a GI stool test. And the hormone test pretty much told me where all my levels were at, that I have basically no estrogen and progesterone and no cortisol working. I also did a stool test to see what my gut was looking like. I found out that my body wasn't processing gluten, which was really helpful to know. There are some parasites, or not necessarily parasites, but good and bad bacteria that were a little too much or a little too less of one. So I got supplements recommended by my holistic doctor to me, and same with my hormones. And then I figured out I have adrenal fatigue, so that means that's basically the root of all my hormone issues. The way I'm fixing that is certain supplements and then also not working out for more than 30 minutes. And if I do, then it's more of a low-intense workout. I read the book In Your Flow by Elisa Vitti or something like that. And this is where I learned about the cycle-syncing method. So basically, as a woman, our cycles are not 24 hours like men. We have a 28 to 30-ish day cycle, which is a whole month. The problem with this is if you're on birth control, you're putting synthetic hormones into your body, meaning you're not actually ovulating, you're not actually having a real period, and you're having those, like, when you're not on birth control, your hormones fluctuate throughout the whole month. They are high or they're low, or if you're on a hormone supplement, you're getting that same amount of hormone every single month, and actually your body stops producing it, from my knowledge, because it's already relying on you giving yourself that daily. So that's why you can't cycle sync on birth control, but that's okay because not everybody needs to cycle sync. I got those results. I switched the way I work out. I switched the way I eat a little bit, and I'm feeling so great. And it's just a peace of mind to know that I'm fixing these problems at 20 years old versus getting off birth control when I'm ready to have children and realizing my period didn't come right away or my hormones are messed up. And there's all these issues, and you're already stressed out about wanting to have a kid or your career at this point, that I don't really want to deal with my hormones too. So we're starting it now, and I'm really excited. So let me share what I've learned. And obviously, I'm not a doctor. I've just learned this info from research, from podcasts, from books. So go do your own thing. Don't just obviously trust some random chick on the internet. Okay, so first off is there's 4 cycles in your cycle. We've had menstrual phase, which is the first day of your period is day 1. And that usually lasts around like 3 to 7 days. Okay, so follicular phase is around 10 days. And it's day around 7 to 17. And then ovulatory phase is around 4 days. This is the only time you can get pregnant, by the way. And that's around day 18 to 22. And then your luteal phase is 14 days. And that's your day 23 through 36. So now we've got ovulatory phase. This is going to be your HIIT classes, your interval training sprints, your indoor cycling classes, boot camp, kickboxing. Also, best time to do this is around the afternoon. So ovulatory phases, I like to take a spin class, or I'm not a huge fan of HIIT classes, but if I'm going to do it, I would do it then. It's only 4 days, so this is kind of your time to adventure into other types of classes you like to do. Maybe it's a Zumba class. That's kind of fun. Okay, next is luteal phase. It's 14 days long. 10 to 14. So I have a really long cycle, so I'm telling you the longest days for these. So luteal phase is 10 to 14 days. And the first half is strength training, like yoga sculpt and weights. So if you're a gym baddie, that's for you. Last 5 days is Pilates, bar, and gentle yoga. So going back to that yin vinyasa flow. I also really like this phase because Pilates is my bestie. So technically you could do Pilates or strength training this entire time. So let's say you love Pilates. For menstrual phase, I would do like level 1. Follicular phase, I would do some studios have like more cardio-based Pilates classes. Ovulatory, I would also keep it like yoga sculpt, luteal yoga sculpt, and then towards the end of your luteal phase, do more of gentle yoga. So now that I gave you the basis of each cycle, I'm going to add some tips and things that I've learned. So your follicular phase is the week after your period. And this is when your estrogen will be low and your cortisol levels are just the right amount for a cardio burst. And then your ovulation is when you have a ton of energy, and by this time you want to take control of that natural high, and your testosterone is higher during this phase. So whatever you do, you can go all out. This is why HIIT classes are the best. And then your luteal phase, so the week and a half before your period, you might start to feel a lot of energy during the first days. So you want to do intense workouts more in the early day. But if you experience any PMS symptoms before your period is coming, it's okay to switch to more of a evening, chill, restorative yoga and just kind of relaxing, since you might be experiencing moodiness and bloating and such. Okay, so those were all the little things about cycle syncing workout templates pretty much. But let me tell you how I actually am able to do all this. One, if you have an Equinox membership, most Equinox locations have a gym, obviously. And then some have Pilates studios, yoga studios, and or a spin studio. So that's kind of your golden egg is an Equinox, because you can do the weights part, you can do the cardio inside, you can do the yin and the Pilates. But let's say you don't live next to let's say you don't live next to an Equinox, or you don't have enough money for that because it's pretty expensive. I would say get ClassPass, because that's what I'm currently doing. You can try any studio you want. You can try all the different types of workouts, and it's maybe $5 a class or something. So it's really not that bad. And then you can find your favorite studios as well. So the way I track my cycle is I use an app to track my cycle. And then I count how many days since my first day of my period. And then I go into my notes app, because I've written this all down. And then I determine what cycle phase I'm in. Also for ovulatory, like sometimes I'm off, but I'll know the difference when I go to the restroom, TMI. But your temperature is different when you're ovulating, and 2, your uterus lining is either a different color or different thickness. So all my girls know what that is. Okay, so some reasons why I've liked cycle syncing is I'm less hard on myself throughout my workouts, because I know what phase I'm in and I know how my body is supposed to react and feel, and same as my mind. So I'm not leaving a workout and wondering, why was that so hard for myself? I've done this before, and I have beaten myself up after a workout, not knowing why it was so difficult. And now I know it's because my hormones are not the same every single day of the year or month. They're different every single week. And I didn't know that. And now I do. So I would say I've been cycle syncing probably since July of 2022. Not since July, since September of 2022. And I've really seen a difference in my energy and my expectations of the workout and just my enjoyment for it. So I highly, highly recommend. So let's say you want to start cycle syncing. Where do you start? I would start the day of your first period. And so there's cycle syncing in the way you go about life, sort of like organizing your schedule. There's food, and there's also workouts. There's probably so much more you can cycle sync, like your skincare routine. But I would pick one, whatever interests you the most. So I started off with workouts because I work out every day anyway. So what's the difference of finding out a plan for myself? And then I would do that for a good at least month to get yourself 1 or 2 months to get yourself really connected and in tune with your body and trying something different, because trying something different can be hard and it gets some adjustment to it. And then 2, I would then implement food, because for myself that would be the easiest one. And for food, I just look up on Pinterest like a guide for myself, and I keep that one in my notes. And then before I go grocery shopping, I look at that list, look at what phase I'm in, and pick all the veggies, meats, and fruit and whatever that is in my cycle that I'll like. And then I put that in a list on my notes, and then I make sure to grab those things at the grocery store. But then I also grab whatever else I was going to get for that week. So whatever you normally get. So you're not only getting these 10 foods and that's your meals for the next 10 days. Like, those are just ingredients-based meals. Or those are just ingredients, and then you need the rest of your meal, obviously, for the week, because you can't live off broccoli and just chicken or sunflower seeds. You need something else. And then, I've talked about workouts, a little bit about food and the different phases there are, and what I did to start my hormone journey. And then lastly, I would say is there's herbs that you can be taking in each cycle phase. Let me pull it up, because I'd say workouts, food, and teas is what I cycle sync pretty much monthly. And I really like the tea one because there's seed cycling, and it's just not my fave. I don't eat enough smoothies and acai bowls to put seeds on everything. But I have learned that during your menstrual phase, raspberry leaf is good to have, follicular phase, nettle leaf, ovulatory phase, dandelion leaf and root, and then luteal phase, peppermint. So those are the teas I have pretty much morning and night. Sometimes I'll do chamomile at night if I want to get sleepy, and then I add my magnesium to most of those as well, and maybe some almond milk. And they're not bad. I love tea, honestly, and all of these are non-caffeinated as well. So that's my fave, and I always make sure to get an organic brand, because tea bags sometimes can have a lot of toxins and microplastics in them. So if you get the whole, not leaf, but without the bag, and you do your whole thing, that's probably awesome as well. I'm just low-key lazy. So looking on the box... Oh, side note, looking on the box for the raspberry leaf, it says it eases menstrual cramps and supports a healthy pregnancy. Obviously, not all of us are pregnant, but that's probably why it's good for menstrual phase. And then nettle leaf, I think I remember it good for your joint health and possibly skin. I can't really remember. And then obviously peppermint, most people know, soothes your belly after like digestion, and who doesn't love some peppermint? Moving into what are some symptoms that people experience when your hormones are actually unbalanced. So first is a painful period, cramping, tiredness, stubborn weight loss or gain, low libido, moodiness, anxiety, depression, digestive issues, bloating, constipation. And then what are some balanced hormones signs. First of all, a regular on-time period in just a red color. Like, it's always the same. It just looks healthy, you know? So balanced hormones are symptom-free periods, energy, good libido, consistently feeling at like peace of mind, and no digestive issues. And there's like a whole template that you guys can look up to what type of hormone imbalances you could possibly have. Well, I hope I was able to explain a little bit more about cycle syncing. I probably could do a bunch of mini episodes about each cycle phase, so just focusing on one at a time and putting all that information all at once. If you have any questions, like, don't hesitate to DM me, because my DMs are pretty much open, and I can answer any questions, send recs for holistic doctors, some online, some in LA. Getting on this healing journey is quite long, but rewarding in the sense of I have control over my body after so many years of feeling as though something else was controlling it. And it's rewarding, so I recommend. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and night, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.